Thank you, Dr. Joy. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our speaker. Our speaker today is a dedicated and compassionate PGY2 resident physician in internal medicine at St. Mary's Hospital, whose passion for medicine is driven by the need for health equity, representation in the healthcare industry, and addressing health disparities. Born and raised in Cameroon, she earned a medical degree at the University of Yaoundé, graduating with honors. Following graduation from medical school, she completed a housemanship at the missionary hospitals of the Cameroon Baptist Convention, then served as a primary care practitioner under the government. Committed to her passion for health equity and women's health, she coordinated the gender-based violence program at the missionary hospital during the peak of the Anglophone crisis in Cameroon. Her leadership skills were immediately apparent to any leader who encountered her, placing her at the forefront of decision-making in most institutions where she worked. While working with the government, she led the fight against malaria and received the award for the Best Doctor of the Year in her first year of service. Her passion for women's health continued following her relocation to the United States, where she coordinated the research activities of an HRSA-funded program for Black women with HIV in the United States and simultaneously earned her MPH in epidemiology and public health informatics and technology at the University of Massachusetts. Humbled by some life experiences and the volatility of the American dream, which when examined closely is not exclusive, even for physicians, she has invested in learning how finances work in the United States, including investment portfolios and income protection accounts. On the side, she is a licensed financial professional in over 10 states with a vision of enlightening the average hardworking immigrant who can easily become trapped in a continuous cycle of debt and work. Outside of work, she is married with 2 children and partners with her husband to raise a faith-based family. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming Dr. Vanessa Ayafor to the floor. Dr. Vanessa, you have the floor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Adetola. Can you all hear me? A thumbs up if you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Adetola, for the warm introduction. I am so delighted to be here again. I am very, very honored to be here and to be the one talking on this side of the screen. 2 years back, I was on the other side of the screen. I was looking up for Saturday meetings, what I can learn with my pen and paper. And here am I today. And all this is just to encourage you that it's a matter of time. You also should be here. We're expecting that when you cross over to be interns, to be residents, to be attendants, you're also going to show up to encourage the other people that are coming behind. So I'm going to share my screen. I hope I can share. Yes. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
All right. So before I start again about transforming your interview, the one interview you have to the match that you need, I want to say thank you so much to Dr. Joy. I call him Grand Frère, because I don't know how much you know how much impact this platform has to IMGs, but I just want to take this time to say thank you for the initiative to create such a platform. To think you're not the first who became a physician from Africa in the US, but you went ahead and you thought about those coming behind, and you created a platform like this that can help people that are coming and you keep working to make sure that it is sustained. So, and you don't get paid for it. So I just want to throw your flowers now and say thank you so much for this platform and for keeping it going. I want to say thank you also to my mentors. When I was preparing for my interview, I had Dr. Lanre Adeniran and Dr. Grace Adeniran. Those were my power people. They showed up every week to practice with us, to share questions. It was so wonderful being with them, and I am eternally grateful to them. And thank you for showing up today. So let's dive in. So one of the things when you think about interview, one of the first thing I want you to think about is who am I going to for the interview? What program is this? Now, there's some of you that are likely saying, oh, I've not yet had any interview. How do I prepare? You're going to have an interview. When you get that one invite, what do you look for? What are the things you search for? The first thing, you need to study the program thoroughly. What is their mission? Is it a community program? Is it a university program? Is it a community program affiliated to a university? You need to know that. What is the culture of the program? What is their recent project? What is the faculty? Is the faculty, you need to go down, okay, the mission of the program is the program focused on low income people, underserved areas, because your answers are going to be tailored in that direction. What is the faculty in the program? Are the faculty completely American? Are the faculty IMGs? Is it a mix of both Americans and IMGs? Is the faculty involved in research? What type of research are they involved in? The next thing you want to do is look up your interviewers. Some people, when you get an invite, you may not know the people who are going to interview with you, but for most of the time, can we please mute the person who is on? All right. So for most of the time, they'll tell you who you're going to interview with. This is very critical to your interview day. So you need to look them up everywhere. Look them up on LinkedIn. Look them up on Facebook. If they are on social media, type their, this day is easy to type up and look up anybody. Go on Facebook, go on Instagram, go on LinkedIn. What you're gathering on Facebook and Instagram is not to come and tell them that, oh, I saw you post a beach picture on Facebook. You went to the beach and all of that. No. But if you see someone like with family, putting pictures with family on Facebook and Instagram, or putting family or putting pictures of travel to different places on it, that's their personal life. But it kind of gives you an idea of what the person likes, the kind of hobbies that the person likes, the kind of interest that the person has. Go on to LinkedIn, read about the person's background. Where did they go to school? Usually, you can start with medical school. Where did they go to medical school? Where did they do residency? If they did a fellowship, where did they do the fellowship? What research are they doing right now? Try to read up about them and have an idea, because it is what you know about them that will tailor your responses or your interaction that day with them. Next slide. All right. The next thing I want to discuss is building your narrative. Now, you need to master your common questions. I don't know if we've already started doing the subgroup practice, but there are some common questions that we share during the subgroup practices. That's why even if you've not gotten an interview, this is the best time to start doing your practices. It's not when you get an interview that you're going to interview in a week or in 3 days. that you're going to start practicing. It is now if you've not yet started, it is now to start practicing the common questions. Tell me about yourself. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Um, Scenario questions. We're going to come to scenario questions later on, but tell me about yourself is like, it's like the bread and butter. You should know, like, tell me about yourself. You should be spilling that out like now. You should be spilling that out every time someone asks you without even blinking. You should be able to spill that out. Tell me about yourself. Then the other common questions, why this program? Why should we select you? Um, what are your what do you look, what are your long-term goals? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Those are common questions that you should have at the back of your head right now, that if they wake you up from sleep, you should be able to give those answers to. And you get these answers, or you prepare well for these answers. There's no one line fits all, but you prepare well for these answers during your practice sessions in your subgroups. Now, mastering the STAR method in responding to scenario questions, because there's so many programs that are going to, I think all programs or all interviews that I had, there's no one that did not ask a question, a scenario question, that you're supposed to use the STAR method. Now, what is the STAR method? S standing for the situation, T standing for the task, A standing for how, come again.
Action.
Sorry, someone is trying to say something. I'm missing that.
A for action.
A stands for action and R stands for
results.
All right, great. So the S, the situation, you need to explain the situation. So each time this STAR method is used so that it kind of guides you in your responses. They ask you that, tell me about a time when you had a conflict with a senior in the hospital. Your answer can go in all directions, but the STAR method is made to give you a kind of guide you on how you should respond to that scenario. And the scenarios are vast. It can be patient-doctor encounter. It can be colleague-colleague encounter. It can be colleague-boss encounter. It can be you and your juniors or medical student encounter. So either ways, you need to use the STAR method so that it helps guide you on how to respond. Now, stating the situation in this example, for example, state a situation, a scenario where you had a conflict with your PGY3 and how you handled it. Now, maybe the situation is like your PGY3, or let me say PGY2 if you're an intern. The PGY2 came and asked PGY2 and PGY1. You are the PGY1 and you have a conflict with your PGY2. PGY2, what was the situation? The situation was that PGY2 has been sending you up and around and asked you this last time you were trying to put in some orders, and in between your order, they sent you to go and update family. The tax was so that's the situation. You have your issue putting in orders. They have been sending you around throughout the day, and they've now asked you to go and update the family. And you stop in a while and you're like, but you've been going around throughout the day, doing errands, and right now you're trying to do something and they're sending you again to go and update the family. That's something that maybe you thought she would have done. What is the tax? What would you do? What would you say it's what was the prop? So you've stated the situation. Now the task was to go and do this. What action did you do? You went and you updated the family real quick. Then you stopped, you pended your maybe this is not the perfect example. You stop, you pended your order, you ran quick, you updated the family, you came back, you completed your order, then you stop now, and later on in the day or at the end of the day, after you guys gave sign out, you told your PGY2, your senior resident, that you appreciate her her leadership in making sure that the team works together and making sure that all the tasks at the end of the day for the team, we make sure that we do all the tasks for the team. You just want to highlight the fact that today you were doing this thing, you had gone around doing all the errands and you were in an order, that you would have appreciated that you finished the order first before she asked you to go update the family. So you just wanted to share this with her or her or him. Then whatever the response was, usually you want to highlight, not that they got angry, you want to highlight that, oh, they were appreciative, they thanked you that you stayed to the end of the day, not at the heat of the moment, to not go and do what they asked you to do. You stayed, you were patient enough to the end of the day to tell them that, all right, this thing that you did would have been done, you think that would have been done like this, but you were also thankful for the fact that they were trying to coordinate team activities. And the result now is that your PGY2 was happy with you that at least you were able to talk. And she was also happy with you that people ended the day with all the activities or the team's work completed. So that's kind of like a rough example on how you go about the approach for narrate for situation questions. So always have the star at the back of your mind so that you don't get lost trying to explain things here and there. Now, practice, practice, practice. I'll say practice only makes you better. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. Look at yourself in the mirror every day. Tell me about yourself. Vanessa, tell me about yourself. You stand in the mirror and you rehearse it. You talk to yourself, you stand in the mirror, look at yourself, look at the way your eyes are moving, look at the way your body language, and evaluate yourself. If I were evaluating this person I'm seeing in the mirror, what score will I give the person? How will I grade the person? How will I engage with the person? Is this the best of what I can give? Can I do better? And you realize that the more you rehearse these questions, the more you get better at it. The more you practice, the more you get better at it. Don't wait for the interview day to say that you want to practice. Or 2 days to the interview. That's when you start going through questions and say, oh, this question, how do we answer this question? No. Write down when you go for your subgroup practice sessions, write down all the questions that you have. Write all the questions write down the questions you were given. Write down at least what you think is the answer. When you're coming ready to give what your proposal is for the answer. That way, the mentor can guide you into what an appropriate answer should look like. Then you correct that and you train on that. You better yourself, you perfect yourself. So practice, 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 and don't dwell only on the practice sessions with the mentors, as Dr. Joy said. Form subgroups aside the groups that the Joy's platform provides for you. Look for friends, subgroups with them. Even if it's just a subgroup of 2, go behind again and practice with that person. That way you're at your best self. The people that at least you're comfortable with, practice with them. You can give in so that you're not ashamed with anybody judging you or grading you anyhow, because wherever there's more than 5 or more people, there's some level of competition that just kicks in. So at that time, you're with your normal peers and you're not trying to prove, or you're not trying to make as if you know more anything, you're just yourself. So find people like that to practice with them. But bottom line is practice, practice, practice. And now, interview day itself. So there are a lot of things that you should do before the interview day, during the interview, and after the interview. So let's start with before the interview. What are the things you should prepare before the interview? After you've done all these things, you've read about the program, you've read about the mission statement, you've read about their residents, you've gone in to look at some of the residents, the work that they are doing, the awards that they usually give the residents. You've looked at the program director, of course, you've looked up the program director, the assistant program director, um, the faculty that is going to interview you, even the other faculties that are in the program. You've looked them up. You've looked up what they do for wellness. You've looked up about everything about the program. Now, you have to make sure that you look for a place that is quiet, a place that is void of distractions, a quiet room, which is well lit. You have your external lights that is going to help just make the area look beautiful. Your background is looking beautiful, not like my own now. I'm seeing the blind, but you're going to make a very beautiful, look for a background that looks beautiful. Your lights is all set up. Everything is set up. You have, before your interview day, you have set up your table, your computer, your background, and you invite someone on a Zoom to come up with you to do a trial with someone. There are so many people, believe me or not, there are so many people that have never been on a Zoom call or in a Zoom interview. Share your screen, unmute yourself, mute yourself. You need to practice those. Believe me or not, on interview day, there's sometimes that you'll be talking or they'll say unmute yourself or mute yourself, you're just confused. So you need to be comfortable with all the Zoom buttons. So get a friend to come on with you and set up yourself. Now, mute yourself, stop your video, because during the break, you don't want to go on break during an interview and you're like stretching. Then your video is still on and everybody's seeing you stretching or you're yawning. You're like, oh my God, I can't wait for this to finish. Everybody is seeing you. Believe me or not, there are people that have gone and they're doing that and they come back and they realize, oh, my video was on. So practice with someone how to unmute yourself, mute yourself, how to turn off your video, how to turn on your video, how to which part of yours, how you're going to place your computer that will capture that will capture the best position, that will put you in the middle and kind of get a very good capture of at least 3/4 or 1/3 upwards of yourself. And chat, put in something in the chat, see if you can read it, set up your mic. Can the person hear you? It's not on the interview day that you're like, can you hear me? Can you not hear me? They're like, we can't hear you. And you're like confused. You don't know where to go and set up your mic. So get that person before the day of the interview and make sure that all of those are sorted. Now, on the day of the interview, during the interview, I brought up this picture to just give you an idea of, it's not like you must wear a black suit or you must wear glasses or be like this lady seated here. But I just put this up to give you an idea of how generally you're expected to show up. Show up dressed show up dressed official. Show up, don't show up with a shirt. I remember I interviewed with a guy. It's obvious that he was just probably using that interview to practice, but that was like too much. He was in a hotel room and the bed was showing up as the background and he was on a chair that was swinging. So it's easy. Be careful with these chairs that you can swing around on, because sometimes you get comfortable and before you know it, you're swinging left to right. You're just enjoying yourself, but you don't even know that that's what you're doing. So be careful with such chairs. And he was on the chair like that. He was just swinging from left to right. That kind of, you guys are giving me some good music. I'm just enjoying myself. And he was dressed in his shirt, halfway button, I mean, he looked like, you guys, I'm not really interested in this thing. I just really came to pray. It was obvious. What I'm trying to say is that the way you dress, the way you show up, it's very obvious to people how interested you are in what you came for. So you want to look serious. You want to dress official. Come up with a smile. Even if whatever thing somebody said annoyed you, just be smiling. Be smiling. I remember after some of my interviews, my cheeks are hurting. It's like I should take paracetamol and just sleep a little. But just be smiling. Show up for the interview and put up a smile. You have the camera, you have the light in your face, and you're just smiling. You're looking at everybody, you just smile. Just put up a smile. Sit up straight, sit up confident. But if you're someone anyway, no one is gonna see your hands. But if you're someone whose hands will be fidgety down, you can put it on the table like these ladies put it on the table. Usually this is more for like in-person interviews, but at least Zoom helps you for this one is that you can fidget with your hands down and nobody's gonna see that you're fidgeting with your hands down. But sit up comfortably. And during the interview, there are some questions that we're going to talk about questions again later on. But there are some questions that the way you answer them tells a lot about, first of all, what an American says and what they mean. That's one of the things that we discussed during our subgroup meetings, and it will really marvel you what American says, what, especially we coming from Africa, what we hear versus what they mean. Okay, a good example of that is, that's a good question. That's a very good question. I don't know if anyone has heard that. Talking with someone, then they say, that's a very good question. Anyone, hands up. Anyone has been talking with someone here in the US and they're like, that's a very good question. All right.
6:30 ka m kwesịrị ijoin ka a na-eme ka ikpe na-ama ndị mmụọ kwa ihe si ya na-eme.
All right. So typically, don't feel like when an American says, "Oh, that's a very good question," most of the times they don't know the answer. Most of the time, the question took them aback. So they're trying to buy time to think about the answer or to think about what to say. So it's a polite way of them. I didn't know this. It's a polite way of them saying, "Oh, give me some time to think." I don't know the answer, but I'm not going to dismiss it. Let me think. Uh, that's something that I should have thought of, but I've not thought about it yet. So, but in a way, they introduce it, they say, oh, that's a very good question. Don't overthink it that, oh, you've killed yourself. You've asked a very good question. That's just a polite way of them answering that. And so you should know some of these things that Americans say, what they mean versus what you hear and how to interpret it. Another example is that during the interview, one thing I've learned is that don't say I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know, it's not the American culture. Say something. Even if you're going to, when I just started here, I used to wonder like, am I the only one that is hearing that this person answering this question is not answering the question? Am I the only one hearing that? But later on with time, I realized that it's not their culture to say, I don't know. They ask you a question, even if you don't know, don't say you don't know. Try to look for something in relation to the question. Start talking about something that, especially if it's okay, scenario questions, of course, there's always a scenario. But if it's usually like a medical question that took you aback and you really don't know the answer, at least you know a pathophysiology related to it, or you know a side effect, or you know something, you can start explaining it that from somewhere. Just start talking about something related to that question, even if it's not the exact answer. Start talking about something related to that question. Then
Guys,
they might try to talk you and draw you or lead you to the answer, or they might just say, okay, or you say you start with something related to the answer, and you're like, for this, for sure, I can't tell, but this, you give a different narrative, but don't say I don't know. Don't say I don't know, then you sit quiet. That is very awkward for them. And that's one thing I learned the hard way, and I thought to share also. Another thing for American, they will usually not give you a bad remark. Understand their body language. The highest you may hear someone say is like, with a smile, and you'll be saying something and they're like, So be able to read body language during an interview. There's some things that you can say that you know that you're going in the wrong direction, or you're pressing the wrong buttons. Be able to identify that and stop immediately that you digress to something else, especially when it comes to very sensitive topics like the gender stuff. Even sometimes marriage and family is sensitive to some people. That's why you need to read up about the people you're interviewing with. Be careful not even talking about God for those who are Christians. You go and meet like a Buddhist, go and meet like someone who does not believe in atheist, someone who Muslim. You don't want to slap Jesus in front of their face like that. I know you can take any avenue to evangelize, but you need to use wisdom. So there are some sensitive topics that even if they drive you into it, you need to be very neutral in the way you answer them without, especially if you don't know. Now, if you know that the person you're interviewing with, you're sure that this person is a Christian, then you know that, all right, you can launch into Christian talks in some extent, and it will be welcoming and you guys can talk about it. But if you don't know, when it comes to religion, when it comes to family, when it comes to those kind of gender affiliations, you don't know any of those, especially when you're coming to an interview and they're telling you to put your pronouns. You should be careful then, because if they're already insisting that put your pronouns by your name or your names, like for example, Vanessa Ayafor, in bracket, it'll be her, hers. So if they're already insisting in a program that you show up with your name and your pronouns, it should give you an information that, all right, maybe there are people in the program that don't go with the typical pronouns that we know, that you don't assume that because he's looking like this, he's a his or he's a her, or you see them his, her, / her, and you're like, So you need to be careful how you address topics in that regard, religion, family. So you stay neutral. You give a response. If they ask you any question that you think may touch such topics, you give a response, but you stay a little neutral without touching any sides or without making a side that you're not affiliated with look bad or feel uncomfortable. Those are the things for during the interview that I can think of now. We have room for a lot of questions. Then after the interview, one of the things you want to do is send a thank you. Don't wait if you can do it immediately after, that's wonderful. So that's some of the things that you prepare even before the interview. You know that if you know the people you're going to interview with before the interview, prepare your thank you notes for them before that time. But if you do not know, then you can prepare your thank you notes for them after the interview. But don't drag it. I'll say latest 24 hours after. That should be like the latest. But immediately after the latest 24 hours, just assume that maybe your interview was in the night. It ended at 4 p.m., 5 p.m. People are heading home. They're not going to open their inboxes or anything. So by the time they're coming back to the office the next morning, they should have their thank you notes there. It should be thank you email. Just, I want to say thank you. Hello, Dr. This. Thank you for setting out time to interview me. I'm really this interested in this program. I was really interested in our discussion about bring up something that you think that was like the hype of your discussion with them. So bring that up because in one day they've interviewed like 10 people. And the next day they're going to interview another 10 people. So when you bring up that thank you note and you bring up that thing during your discussion that you think stood out for you or that was particular to you, it will make them remember you that, oh, this thank you note is from this person. Now I remember that this is this person that I interviewed like this. So it brings you to their remembrance. And also, then you say, I look forward to working with you more to learn more. Maybe you discussed during the interview, you discussed about their research. They are doing research in this. You say you're interested. Please be interested in the research, my dear brothers and sisters. If you're interviewing with someone who is doing research in HIV, be interested in that research in HIV. It's okay to start PGY1 and change your mind. It's very okay. But at that time when you're interviewing, be interested in it. Even if you're interested in saying you do literature review for them, or you have skills in data analysis, or you're going to whatever it is that they're doing, show interest in it. Especially when it comes to research, all attendees that are doing research, they always need help. They're always looking for someone to help them. Now, if you say you're interested in working with them and you come to residency and you change your mind, nobody is going to hold you on your neck that, oh, you did not sign that in your contract. They're not going to hold you in your neck that, oh, you said that you're interested in this. Now, why are you changing your mind? So at least just read about it and show interest. So when you're writing that thank you note, you say, oh, thank you for this. I look forward to working with you on this, especially on your work on this. Now, you've given them something that highlights something that you discussed with them during the interview. And you've given them something that they should look forward to if you join the program. They look forward to someone joining their team or someone joining this thing that they're doing, their project that will help increase manpower. Some people, if you're in the area where you interview the same city, you can do like physical thank you cards. You write thank you cards. So this you prepared before, right? Even if you had a Zoom interview, if you interviewed in a place that's in the same city where you live, excuse me, you can send in your thank you card. You address it to the various people that you interviewed with, and you write the little note that you're writing in the thank you card, and you drop it. You drop it in the hospital where you interviewed or the program where you interviewed with the program coordinator, or you drop it at the front desk. They're going to take it to the people. And that is going to be also very meaningful to them. They're going to read it and they're like, oh my God. So they're not just going to see, it's not like any simple email that anyone can sit in their house and do, but you took the effort, even if it was $50, $1, to buy a card, to write something inside the card, and to bring it to them. So all of that effort, they will see it with that gesture. And of course, they're going to remember you. So after the interview, what you're trying to do is to make them remember you. You have a good profile. Everything was standing out. The discussion during the interview went well. Now they have to remember you. Someone is going to come and blow their minds again the next day. The person should not come and blow their minds and just displace you from the list like that. They need to remember you. You blow their minds, but they should remember you alone for that one that you did that day. So, oh, they have remembered you. They've put down your name for the rank or whatever, or for proposals to rank. So that's some of the things that you want to do that will keep them thinking about you after. Now, don't send emails or thank you emails only to the attendings. If you have a few residents, if it was a group of residents that you did a meet and greet with, you can send an email to all of them as a group. But if possible, if you did meet and greet with like 2 residents or 3 residents, then you can send emails to those 3 residents. After your meet and greet, it's okay to ask for their emails if you do not have them. You ask for their emails, you send thank you notes to each of them. You say, hey, thank you. Even if they don't know you, even if they're not going to say anything, that also goes a long way, because if you're going to match in that program, believe me, they already remembered you for that. And your life starting up as an intern is going to be way easier just because of that thank you note that you sent to them versus you just leaving the Zoom meeting and that's it. So even to the residents, send a thank you note. Program coordinator. Oh, that one. Me and my program coordinator were like, when I meet with her to discuss with her, she will just start quoting me for my letter of intent, how I disturbed her. She never replied. She never replied to any of my letters of intent, but she read it. It was after I joined the program that I was like asking her questions. So, Chai, so all these letters of intent, King, you did not reply anyone. What was happening to you? She would laugh and laugh and laugh. I said in my letter of interest, that was my letter of intent, you did not reply to anyone. It's only after I matched that I was sending you things a lot that you were replying to. And she would laugh and laugh and laugh. But she told me that she read all of them. She read all of them and she took note of all of them. I was like, wow. So so you were reading, so I know I'm not the only one that was sending all those letters. So you were reading all of them. Then she said, yeah, she'll read them, just that she knows that people are sending things. She'll read them, but she could tell from the language in all of those notes, the people that really had interest, the people that were just doing a generic something, and the people, and from the interactions that she had with you on interview, she just told me that she could tell from the one thing that stood out to me, because when she was not replying it, I thought that maybe it was going to their spam or I don't know. But when she told me that she read it, I was amazed that she was reading all of those. So that's just to let you know that the fact that you send all these letters and no one is replying doesn't mean that they don't see it or they don't read it. They are reading it, they see it, and they read it. And they acknowledge it. And I think that's one of the things. I have a very good relationship with her today. I think that's one of the things that sparked off our relationship when I started interning here. You see that your program coordinators are the people that they're your go-to people, even more than your program director. There's some things that you want from your program director that is your program coordinator that will help facilitate things for you. There's some permissions, there's some little things here and there that you may need approval from your program director, and it's your program coordinator that knows the right buttons to press, and that will help get the work done for you. So those are the people that you should not minimize at all. When you're sending out these thank you emails or thank you letters, appreciate them. Appreciate them for the organization. It's not easy. When you interview in 3 or more places, then you see that program coordinators are different in the different programs. There's some people that are really organized in the way they organize the timing from one person to interview to the other. They coordinate you leaving this room to the next room so that you don't find yourself stuck somewhere, or maybe the Zoom just goes off on you. You're trying to sign back in and you're not able to sign back in. All of that takes a lot of effort and coordination. So at the end of even if you did not interact with them or like discuss with the program coordinator, they made sure that your interview day it went without any hitches. And that alone is something to thank them for. And when they thank, most people don't do that. And so when you thank them for that, they're like, oh, so somebody even sees this effort that we put in making sure that they should leave from one breakout room to the other without any hitches. They have backup in case they fall out of the Zoom meeting. They can easily call. We gave our numbers that they can easily call if they're not able to get back in on Zoom, and someone will be right there to help them. So all of those efforts, you don't see them and you don't interact with them, but send them a thank you note. It will go a long way. And so that was the end of my discussion. I just wanted to share this first before I go like to the last slide. This is to share this to my new interns who have started residency. Please, this is not a marketing platform, but Dr. Joey, please permit me to share this. This was a book written by my former my mentor, she's still my mentor, Dr. Grace Adeniran, The Residency Diary. If you get a chance, if you've not yet had a chance, please go on Amazon and buy this book. It's going to help you for those who are starting residency already, those who are in their intern year first months. It's going to help you navigate residency. It was very helpful to me in my intern year. I remember one of the pages of the book that said, before going to give a family update, make sure you read about the patient well. If I did not read that part, I would have gotten grilled one day that I went to give a family update and family has read MRI, they have read everything, and they were asking me questions. I was like, oh my God. If I did not just update myself about the updated lab results that came for the patient, and where we are at now with the care of the patient, I'll be standing there dumbfounded. And this is who has come to give family updates. So please, residents, get this book. And another site I want to recommend is Dr. Endurance Egbayeka. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing it right, but he has some great videos. It's true that most of his videos are focused more on fellowship, but they have great content. Go there, learn, follow his videos on YouTube, learn different ways in which you can prepare for an interview, learn the different tactics to use. He has very great content on his YouTube channel. So go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, and learn different ways in which you can tackle your interview. And now I'll open the floor to questions. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you, Dr. Ayafor, for that very insightful presentation. I think Dr. Joy has a comment or question. Dr. Joy, you have your hand raised.
Oh, I think I had it raised. Let me see if I took any note. Let's see. Yeah, I think I saw Grace was. Thank you so much, Vanessa. I know you were talking about the importance of um, thank you note. So I will just emphasize that again, that it's really a cultural thing here in the US, and it just shows interest. So some people will say, oh, well, but I mean, I marched last year without sending any. Nobody's saying that is a prerequisite to marching, but it's a cultural thing that if you do, it just signifies interest. So, of course, if you have like 20 interviews and you're like, oh man, I knew this interview, then nobody's gonna judge you if you don't send one. But it just speaks volume. It goes the extra length to showing that you're really interested, and then they can look at it more favorably also. So I encourage you all to send it, and then but then I think the only condition will be if the program specifically tells you not to send that. So if they say, please do not send us thank you note, so don't if they say that, please don't force it. It's gonna count against you if you try to do that. And then the other piece also, I know over the years I've seen people make that mistake. So say for instance, whether you do a group or panel interview where there are multiple people, or like you do separate interviews. So please do not trying to be so economical in quote and say, I'm going to send out thank you note and include everybody's email in one email. Uh, for professionalism's sake, it's not good to do. It's not wise to do. So always separate them out. And then if you're separating them out, make sure if you can remember now, if you can have something more generic. Now, of course, not generic to the outside world, like, oh, I'm gonna borrow Dr. Vanessa's thank you note. You can maybe just for the skeleton, but I feel like the content should be whatever stood out between you and those interviewers separately should be emphasized, should come up during your thank you note. And so, and of course, for instance, if you're interviewed by PD, APD, chair, and one faculty, don't make it exactly the same thing. So at least maybe one or two things, depending on what stood out between you. Maybe, oh, Cameroon jollof rice or Ghanaian jollof rice or Nigerian jollof rice. If that came up and you just want to include that side of, no, then of course you can just kind of, just bring it up to say, oh, I know I promised that if I come to that program, I'm going to start a potluck where I'm going to be, I'm going to challenge those fried rice because I'm going to be bringing the best fried rice or Nigerian jollof rice or Ghanaian one or something fun. But of course, it has to be the interaction between you and that person. And let's say you and Chair talked about how Arsenal has been winning more recently. Some people will say it's the initial gra-gra because just wait until the end of the season and stop. So whatever it is that stood out between you and that person, just always have a way of mention. But I'll beg you, don't send mass email. Oh, you send an email, the PD and the same email with the chair, with the P coordinator. Not a good idea. Please don't do that. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jure.
Thank you, Dr. Joy. We have some questions in the chat. Somebody says, can I write my AAMC and ECFMG ID on the thank you notes?
Sure. They already know you. They've already reviewed your chart, so it's not a secret. You can as well just write that down. Then you're not trying to create link. Yes, write it. Answer is yes. You can. You should.
The same person says, do I need to ask if they received the card? I just want to ensure it got to the right person. If they sent a physical card.
If I don't think it's a good idea. I think if you send a physical card and you did your due justice to make it reach the right person, I think it reached the right person. I don't think it's like asking when you ask them that did you receive your card, it's like saying they should have received it and called you and say thank you. I don't know, but it may just put an undue pressure on them that yes, I received the card, so what? So I think if you sent it or you put in the right email to the best of your knowledge, then let it be.
Thank you. I think that's it in terms of questions we have on the chat. Yep. Any other questions in person? Okay, somebody says, is it doing too much to send a thank you email and a physical card if they have already responded to your email?
Why did you, if you were doing, I would say physical card I feel like it's above email. So if you're going to do a physical card, just do a physical card.
Antonia said, I think Dr. Joy just addressed your question, Antonia. She's saying that, can we send a card to each person we interview with or one card for the entire panel?
No. Yeah, Dr. Joy just answered that it's like one email to everybody. No. Send it individualized.
But she's talking about card, physical card.
Even card, don't send okay, when you address it, it's not the whole program that interviewed you, right? So you're going to write on the envelope of the card, doctors, this. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You want to do a card, just spend the dollars and buy the cards.
All right, thank you. Dr. Apau, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much for the presentation. It was very helpful. I just have a question on when you spoke about sending notes of, interest or emails of interest. You mentioned program coordinator. So is it just a program coordinator we send to both the PD and a program coordinator for that? Since the PDs I don't know how the system, I don't know if the program coordinators are the one in charge of selecting people or things like that. So I just want to know how it works. Yeah, thank you.
So it works differently for different programs. What I did was I'll write, when I was sending my letter of interest, I wrote to the program the program coordinator at the time because my program director's email was nowhere to be found. Like her email is not on any social media platform, on any nowhere. It was really like nowhere to be found. There was no way to reach out to her. And I did not know anybody in the program that I could say, give me the program director's email. So that was the only email I had access to was a program coordinator. So that was the person I sent it to. But if you have access to your program director's email, you can email them and CC the program coordinator. One thing I have learned starting residency, that program coordinators, they have power. These are the people that work with the program directors every day. They are in the office with them. So especially when they have a good relation, and there's no way that program coordinator it's so unlikely or very less likely that a program coordinator doesn't have a good relationship with the program director. So do not minimize those people, even though they may appear as not having their recommendations goes a long way.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And Mercy Olufessor sent a follow-up question, posted a follow-up question to our initial question where she said, is it doing too much to send in a thank you email and a physical card? So she's trying to clarify that by saying that she asked that question because you mentioned that send your email, your thank you email right after your interview, preferably. So in that case, if someone is opting to mail a physical card, they likely won't get that card the same day or the next day. So while the physical card is in transit, can you shoot an email?
I'll say yes. I'll say yes. Yeah. So I was answering that question. Sorry if I did not answer the question rightly, but I was answering that question with the mindset that you live in the same city with the program where you interviewed. So it was just going to be a drive to the program. But definitely, if it's something that you have to mail, you can as well send the email, the thank you email, and add the card. I don't see any harm with that.
Right. Dr. Akishete, unmute yourself and ask your question.
I was already typing. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, I was going to, thank you so much, Dr. Vanessa. Yeah, I was going to add to that question that somebody asked about getting the PD's email. So what I did when I applied was to send all the cards to the program coordinator so she would distribute to other interviewers. So you can envelope everything in one pack, one envelope, big envelope, addressing to each interviewer. Then she being the program coordinator, she'll be able to give it to the respective interviewers.
All right, that makes sense. That's just a strategy, right? To make sure that it gets to everybody. Yeah, that makes sense. The one that I disagreed with was getting one card and writing everything for everybody. That was a no-no I was saying too. But if it's that each person's card, then you put in a bigger envelope for the program coordinator to help you distribute. That's still okay, so that you address to the program coordinator alone. She gets the card, she opens it, then she sees many cards, then she can easily get it to the other people. That still works. That's okay. And sorry, the person that just spoke, I lost you. Just a quick correction, also a mistake that you made. That was me. You said Dr. Vanessa. This I learned from Hawaii a lot. She's one of the people that referred me to Joey's group. Shout out to her. Don't call people doctor and call their first name. So if you want to say doctor, you have to say it's doctor their last name. So Dr. Ayafor, for example, this you should use also during your interview. You want to say Dr. this, call them by their last name. If it's Dr. this, doctor their last name.
All right. Next question here is, when sending a letter of interest, is it better to use your personal email or your US school email that ends with .edu and copy your personal email?
I think your personal email is what you use for the errors. So use your personal email. You're not sending it with your student.edu. You're not what are you trying to do with the student.edu that you're in Harvard? You want to tell them, you want to remind them that you're in Harvard right now, and you're sending them an email from Harvard as a student from Harvard. I think just keep it simple. You use your Gmail to do errors. That's what you use for all your communications until you become a resident in that program. Then you have .edu if it's a university program, or you have their organization, whatever organization you belong to.
She asked a follow-up question, the same person who asked that question. She said she's asking that because she heard that they are more likely to open .edu emails.
I don't know about that, Dr. Jure. Please chime in with this if you can. I don't know about people being more likely to open .edu versus your Gmail. I don't know. I didn't hear about that before, and I don't know about that.
Okay, while we wait for any other comment about that question, another question here says, what if you struggle with pronouncing their names so you are not making a mistake?
You still pronounce their last name and say you're sorry. Say you're sorry that you may not be pronouncing it right. They themselves, those people that have complicated names, they know so that it's not easy to pronounce their names. So it's not you being the first person to not pronounce it right. It's not new to them. But if you have to call someone,
Don't they go work? Yeah. What did you saw? Once you hear the phone cut, you know, say my radar don't
Who
arrive.
is this person? Sorry, guys. I just muted the person.
so if if you hear if it's doctor, just be doctor their last name. If it's a difficult name, you're not the first to not know how to pronounce it right. And if it's really a difficult name, you say Dr. this and you're like, I'm sorry, I may not have pronounced your name right. Is that correct? You can ask the person, is that the way I can pronounce it? Is that correct? Did I pronounce it right? If you didn't pronounce it right, they'll tell you that this is the way you should pronounce it.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Ogushola. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ayafor, for the presentation. That was so beautiful. I just want to chime in on the last question that was asked. For all my interviews, I did something by when we start introduce ourselves, especially when it's like personal interview with the interviewers, just say, hi, my name is Opie. What would you like me to address you with? So most of them, we like you to address them with their first name. They'll say, oh, just say Tina. And throughout the conversation, just say, oh, Tina, just about what you spoke about. Oh, Tina, just keep saying that because that's what they are conversant with. That's what the other resident call them. So I will advise that. Just start when you introduce yourself, just say, oh, nice meeting you, Dr. This, but how would you like me to address you during this interview? And then you have a nice conversation with them. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gonshola. And thank you for adding that. So if you ask that question, thanks so much for that. If you ask that question and they say, call me Sarah, please don't go and be saying Dr. Gonshola again, Dr. Gonshola, that you want to show over respect. No, if they say, call me Sarah, just call them Sarah.
Thank you. Okay, Ogechi says, if Dr. Joy would help answer my question, that will help me decide which email to use. That's the person who was asking about .edu emails. I heard the institutional emails with .edu is more legit, recognizable, and more respected. So they're more likely to look at it. Also, it is more likely not to go into their spam emails. Well,
I can quickly, I'm sorry, Dr. Adetola. I was just thinking that if you have an additional email, just use it.
Who is talking, please? Who is
Sorry,
talking?
this is Opi. This is Ogunshola that just finished speaking. I'm
Okay.
sorry. If you have additional email, like I had research fellowship with Harvard when I was applying, use your personal email to send and CC your Harvard email. That gives you some like recommendation with attach your CV to when you are writing them, like, oh, just about what we spoke about, in case you met them personally, in case, just say, oh, just to remind you on what we spoke about, I did this research, I'm currently in this, and then CC your current email. At least that will give you an edge if that is needed to kind of, oh, okay, this person said this during the interview. That's my thoughts, though.
And I was just wanted to add to the person who, I think it's Dr. Ogechi, who's asking this question. For the letter of interest that I sent, if this will help you, I used my Gmail and I got responses. I even got a response from Conrad Fisher. So if that will help, I used my Gmail and I had PDs replying me, responding to me. So I don't think that personal email will go to spam. I don't think so. It might, well, maybe some of mine went to spam, but I got a good number of response from program directors.
She said, I mean the first letter of interest if you haven't received an interview yet. All right, Dr. Ogechi. Sorry if I'm not pronouncing that right. If you have not received, I want to use this avenue to encourage anyone who has not received an interview yet. Please don't put any undue stress on yourself if you have not yet received an interview. We're still in mid-October. There are interviews that I got an interview in December. I got an interview January 7th. So just so you know, interviews are going to come from now till January. So don't put any undue stress or anxiety on yourself if you have not received an interview now. For sure, there are people that have received maybe 5 or 6 or 4, and there's some people that have not yet received any. And there's some people that are going to receive a lot more in November, December, January. So please be patient with yourself. Take this time to practice. Don't be on any pressure that you've not yet received an interview. People will receive interview. People may share with you that they've received an interview. Be happy for them, but don't let that information put any pressure on yourself as if you're not doing anything right. Do the things that they've recommended for you to do, like the letters of interest, but no over pressure. Don't put too much pressure and anxiety on yourself. We're still mid-October.
I have received just any letter of interest, but I went from. Yeah, I think we've addressed your question, Dr. Ogechi. Somebody said, do what makes you sleep well. So if .edu will make you sleep well, go ahead and use .edu. I don't think you should overflog it. Somebody said, please don't inappropriate emails like, so I'm sorry I laughed. Don't
No,
use
that's
inappropriate email like sex, sexy.
I doubt if that is the email though that you
Sexy
use in Era's
666
application.
Oh yeah,
gmail.com.
so I've seen worse emails. You know, those times I used to send out those emails to applicants, and you will see
Good.
sexy choma, 20 billion for your account, real sexy love, show you for love, all kinds. It's almost, I'm telling you, it's not the people. I'm not making all these things up. I probably can just go back to the email and show you from 8 years, 9 years of emails. And honestly, I'm being very serious. And so eventually just say, hey, guy, we know you are sexy. We know you are hot already, right? So we don't need to know that again. So just write your first name, dot your last name, and then write Gmail or what you can create. But if you have an official email, say for instance, you belong to a university or you are currently a student and you have, email from work, those things also can work. Just make sure you can easily access them. So don't say, for instance, let's say, I know whenever I left University of Michigan, for instance, the very day that I left, by midnight, boom, they deactivated everything, right? Whenever I was at UIC Foundation Fellowship, I still have that email to today. I still use the email. So some schools care, some people don't. Some oh, but Dr. Vanessa says you're gonna use my school email. I cannot even access my email account now, and they're sending me invite. How am I supposed to know? So please be very careful. And honestly, at this point, I don't know if it's wise for you to even change your email that you put on errors, because otherwise you will get them confused. Somebody says sweet babe, yeah. So you already know you are sweet babe. So just write your first and last name, and at whatever the organization or something. But we don't really know.
There's another question
This is
here that
really-
says, is it a good idea to still send a thank you email to all your interviewers if one of the residents already told you to only send to the PD, but didn't give any particular reason? Just follow instruction, I guess.
Well, it kind of depends. I think if you are there during the interview, and that question comes up, just ask. Just know why. But if
Yeah.
the person doesn't state why, just say, "I'm telling you." There's a way you say, "I'm just letting you know." Then that means, hey, just follow that. Just follow that. Don't try to say I too know, or don't try to corner people and say, don't mind that guy, just go and do that. So yeah, just follow those leads. I think most of the time they know what they are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I think that's all the questions we have for now. Any other questions or comments from seniors on the call?
While people are cooking up their questions, I just want to share this also. You need one interview to match. Sometimes too many interviews sometimes get you confused. And there's no guarantee that you who has 14 interviews must match. It's true that the odds say that the more the interviews, the more likely it is to match, but it's still no guarantee. And you need one interview to match. If you prepare well for this one interview, regardless, one of the things that I have learned is that every other thing, the day on the interview, every other thing is in the trash. Your 270, your 260, your two whatever, it's inside the trash. That's what brought you to the interview day. You can mess up all of that wonderful credential on that day with the way you show up, with the way you talk, with the way you prepare, in as well as you can upgrade that 220 or whatever it is that you saw as gaps in your application. So that once you have this interview and you have the opportunity to show up and show your real self, take it very seriously, prepare for it, because you can change the odds on your application. You can upgrade yourself on whatever gaps that you thought you had on your application, and you leave the person feeling like, oh wow, I want to have this girl. I want to have this person as my resident. And even if for some reason they're not going to take you, you still left a very positive impression with them. You still left a very positive remark with them. Recently, just to share this, I was talking with one program director, and it really, he was just saying it, and that stood with me. I was doing an elective at Yale recently, and I was talking with the program director because he was just sharing with who we were rounding. He came for rounds late, and so he was trying to apologize for why he came for rounds late, and he was saying, oh my God, he's so burnt up trying to read through all these interviews. This is interview season for the fellows. It's not easy and all of that. And now I was with the PA and we're rounding together. It was the PA who was asking most of the questions though. And she was like, but how is he doing it? How is he doing with the interviews and trying to do clinical practice and rounds and everything? He said he's trying that the interviews, then he started talking about the interview. Yes, the interview that he had the previous day. So he was like, the interviews went so well. Then he was talking about this particular lady that he interviewed with her. I mean, he shared the things that she has done and the things that they discussed about, and we were laughing about it during rounds. And he was like, if not of some other factor, of course, he said it was they may not rank the person because the person had not passed one, like had failed one of the attempts, because for them, passing on first attempt was very big for their program, but that the interview went so well. That's somebody that he would like to work with. So that really stood with me. I was like, all right, even though this person is, or even though he's less likely to rank this person was so good that he or she left sort of good impression with the program director that he was able to even talk about their discussion the next day with us during rounds. So that's just to say that it goes a long way, and you don't know when you're going to meet these people again. Even the fact that maybe you don't match in their program does not mean that you may not collaborate with them someday, or you will not become colleagues with them someday and just share jokes and maybe collaborate with them in your research or something. That's just to say that show up for the interview and give your best.
Now, wow, Dr. Ayafor. So this attempt is still follow as which fellowship?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
That
God.
come again.
What you just said is revelatory to me. Like I thought once you enter residency, you have escaped this saddle of attempt on your back. But you just mentioned now that somebody will be less likely, the PD was saying he's less likely to rank that person because of attempt. And this is at fellowship level.
Yeah, this is Yale also now. Come on, this is Yale.
Yeah, so I'm
You know,
saying that so this
yes.
attempt thing still follow you,
So he
which
was, yeah, he
fellowship?
was,
Oh
yeah,
my
he
God.
shared. I asked when he said that, I actually asked him, and he's program director of HIMONG, and I asked him that, so he really looks at that. He said yes, he doesn't want, he will not take people. That's the red light for them if you do not pass on first attempt, because he doesn't want to take any people. That their program, first of all, is research heavy, and there's a lot of demand on you, educational wise. So he doesn't want anybody that is going to stand a chance of not. The institution's name, those big programs, of course, institutions' name matter more than any other thing. So they don't want anyone that will come and bring down the institution's name.
Somebody who has finished residency and passed board, and now wow.
And sometimes they don't have the board passed. So usually you are applying in your third year. Let's say it's IM fellowship, you are applying in your third year. You don't have the results yet by the time you apply.
Yeah.
So when you're interviewing, they may not see the. So now let's say, for instance, their result came out earlier this week, right? Monday, Tuesday. And so then let's say you have an interview scheduled after that, then you can go and brag about it and say, oh, and by the way, I just got my IM board certification I passed. So something you can brag about. But I think I agree with Vanessa that they still, honestly, those things they still follow you. They literally still follow you. But there's so many things that will make pluses for you that will
Yeah.
really good strength for you. Say, for instance, during your residency, you did a lot of work, a lot of scholarly activity. They love that. They love that. If they see LOR from your faculty people speaking about you and some of the accomplishment and some of the things that you did without any but or ifs or ands. They like that also. It just shows that although this person is very good, even though maybe the test taken before the enter residency was probably not the best, but this person has really so much has invested time in clinical work, research work, scholarly work, and some other things, also teaching. So yeah, those barriers are there, but I feel like it's ultimately, and I won't be surprised that person will match even if it's Yale or Harvard, and because people with attempts are matched in those places. People who attempt are matched, even people attempts are professors today, are PDs today, are APDs today. So don't let those attempts kind of limit. I say still throw out the card out there, and eventually you'll get in. You eventually just get in. So, and some people will be like, oh well, this I feel like this program, they just invited me just to tick the boxes, or the person that got me invited already have their own candidate. it's not unusual that applicants will say the same thing. But what I tell them is, if you can shine, so just look at every single thing that you have, your medical school transcript. Oh, by the way, medical school transcript counts too. So they see those medical school transcripts. That's another thing people don't think about. So don't say I was the best graduating student. Now you may be, right? But don't make them feel like, oh well, like medical school was just a write over. You scared it. Hey, bro, don't say that because your transcript is with them. So don't say that, but right? So think about the medical school transcript, your USMLE scores, the LORs, the US clinical experiences, the visa status, and everything as one side. The interview is the other side. So the interview by itself may carry even like 40, 50% by itself. So you could go in there and shine. And I've seen so many individuals, even on this platform, where they said, oh my God, there's no way I'm going to match in this place. And they've matched in those top programs also. And even for those places where you say, oh, but this guy told me he already had a candidate he's vouching for, he's putting a word to, they go in there and they really do well on the day of the interview and they outshine everybody. They outshine it. And some of them have come to become the chief resident. I mean, how many chief residents do you have on the platform? So many people, so many people. So all those things really matter. As a matter of fact, also like Vanessa said, statistically speaking, you do the probability. The people will say if you need more than like 4 or 5 interviews to match. But mathematically speaking, or spiritually speaking, you just need one. You just need one. That's it. And last year, I still remember up to 5 people that had just one interview. As a matter of fact, this lady now she's in Illinois, somewhere in Illinois, and she was like, "What are my chances?" I did not answer that question until today, but she matched, right? I don't answer questions like that. I don't answer, just to let people know, I don't answer all questions. So there's some questions that I look at it and like, no, I'm not going to answer this question, right? So though people are going to say all kinds. Now just think about it from where you're coming from. Even before when you pass to go to medical school, I'm sure some people will probably look at you like medical school. How can you even think about medical school? How can you even think of going to so school in Ghana, in Cameroon, in Kenya, in Nigeria, right? And now fast forward many years down the line, you are here. So just think about it, just be grateful where you are. Ultimately, all I know is always going to end in praise. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joy.
Thank you, Dr. Joy, for that.
That's a good way to end it. It will always end in praise.
It
Any
will.
other questions?
I got some questions in the chat.
No, they were talking about, I know this is not so applicable now. Okay, yeah. This person says, I know this is not applicable now. As a licensed financial professional, you want to tap into your professional life. I mean, your financial aspect.
Inbox me. We're gonna
Can
discuss
you
that.
kindly share some tips with us? All right, she already responded to you.
Yeah, just inbox me. We're gonna set an appointment for that.
Is everyone invited to interview for fellowship? I think they already responded to that. Any other questions or comments?
So even with that, even with the example I shared, I was sharing that example just to highlight the fact that you can outshine in an interview such that you leave a remark and they keep talking about you even the next day and after. And who knows? He's not a final say. He's not a program director like that. It's in most of these very big programs, it's not only the program director that has the final say about who gets to match or the rank list or the right. Who knows if that person left the same impression with all the other interviewers, and now they go to the discussion table and everyone is saying nice things about the person. Of course, that kind of person, there's a high chance that they're gonna match them if everyone is feeling so good about you. So that was not to say limit you about anything. That was just the example I shared was just to say that you can go on the interview and leave such a great impression that they keep talking about you.
Make the talking translate into ranking. It's not about impression. They rank us. All right. Thank you. Any other question? or comments from the seniors? Looks like that's all we have for tonight. Well, in the absence of further questions or comments, I would like to thank you, Dr. Ayafor, for your time this evening with us. Thank you for all those insightful nuggets and tips that you've shared. And as Dr. Joy will always say, I pray it will all end in praise for everyone on the interview trail this season. All right, guys, leave your words of appreciation and emojis in the comment section and in the main platform, both the WhatsApp and what's the other one called? The WhatsApp and what's that one I've forgotten? The other platform, you know what I'm talking about? Telegram, yeah. So leave your words of appreciation in both for Dr. Ayafor. And we'll meet again. And I wish everyone a good rest of your weekend and a great week ahead. And for those having interviews already, we're rooting for you. Go and nail it. And for those that are yet to get interview, they're going to come. As you've heard, interview still comes all the way to December. All right, guys, have a good rest of your night. And it was nice hanging out with you all again. Thank you, Dr. Ayafor.
Thank you, Dr. Nicola. Thank you, Dr. Joy. Thank you, everyone, for showing up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will surely end in praise.
Amen.
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 Keep left.
Thank you so much.